Welcome back to Grit Gym, well, the headquarters of Grit Gym anyway. So every day at 12:30, we come at you talk about your health, your exercise, your mindset, your nutrition, and your recovery. Those are the four pillars of health: exercise, mindset, nutrition, recovery. They're like four wheels on a tire, four tires on a car, right? You don't have them all inflated, and you aren't giving them all their due attention, you're gonna have a problem. Right, you can't just have one big tractor tire on exercise and not have any. Have a deflated tire, have a flat tire, and then have a little donut on the other one. You got to have the right tires, and you got to have the right information going into that car to make it go. Maybe that's a faulty analogy, but it's the one I'm coming up with and I'm using today. So I hope you guys can get along with that. What we're talking about today is. We're going to kind of bounce around a little bit. We're going to bounce around, but mostly we're going to stick to the topic of program design. Okay, program design in the sense of how do we create strength? Because I really think this is the biggest misunderstood piece of the exercise world that people just like personal trainers, strength coaches just aren't getting, especially the younger strength trainers, the younger crowd that just it's easy to get caught up in some of the 7 ways that you get in your own way trying to build strength. And I'm going to go through those here in a little bit. But first, please slap that share button. Send this out to everybody that you know. If you like what we're putting out, if it is good for you to hear this message, it's going to be good for somebody else to hear this message. Please, obscurity is our biggest issue. I am desperate to help people. I was just sitting up late last night, and I can't even tell you how uncomfortable I am that I only get to talk to the number of people that I get to talk to. Okay, the number of handshakes that I get to have, the number of people that I get to influence, the number of people that are out there that in the world versus how many we actually get to positively affect. It drives me nuts. It's like this inner burn inside of me that I don't know what to do with, except for do these videos and try to create as inspiring a message as I possibly can. And it's not me trying to inspire you. It's me trying to get you to inspire yourself. It's about this show, really, if you really scaled it back, to everything, I think it would be somewhere along the lines of courage and responsibility. Having the courage to take full responsibility of every single aspect of your life, your health, your wealth, your relationships, and your time. But this show is mainly around health. Once in a while, I think at some point we're going to start kind of splattering it around and talking about the other 3 resources of life, your time, which we talk about some, but a little bit more we talk a little bit about relationships, but not very much, and to talk more about the wealth stuff, because we're coming up on the 7th year of Grit Gym being in business. About 5 years ago, about lost it all, about lost the whole thing. Things weren't going very well. Money was not where it should have been, and there's just a few things that I think a lot of people, if some people just had like just a few things in the money game figured out, it would just open up their whole world to a new way of living to be really good. So if you guys think that we should talk a little bit about that subject and the kind of mindset around wealth building and how it's not all evil, like the not evil side of wealth, not the corrupt bullshit side of wealth, or the ability to see please write in the comments section and tell me if that's something that you guys would like my perspective on. Because actually I really do enjoy talking about that stuff when I get around friends that enjoy talking about that kind of stuff. Because money is a big portion of our lives. It makes sure that you can do what you want to do, when you want to do it, how you want to do it, with the people that you want to do that thing with. You know, you want to put your kids in the best school, go to the best restaurants, have the best food possible in your area. You want to hire a personal coach, a personal strength coach, a personal trainer. You want to hire a counselor to try to help you map your mind, or a sports psych coach like I did back in the day that was a mentor for me for a lot of this mindset game. You know, if you want to be able to do that, then you've got to have the wealth to be able to pay for it, right? So it's an important thing. But that is off subject from what we're talking about today. Let me know in the comment section though if that's something that you guys want in the future. But okay, so what really I'd like to get into is what's written in the title of this video. It's that it doesn't take a genius to make things complicated. Okay, and the question that I want to ask is, can you, because a lot of this stuff is fairly simple when you really get it down to the bare bones of what it is. And usually I get somebody writing into me, or someone in a conversation, or they're like, "It's not that simple, Adam. It's not that simple." And my response is almost always the same. Can you find a good reason to complicate it? For real, can you find a good reason to complicate nutrition? No, you need about a palm-sized amount of meat. Hey, that's pretty simple. Look at my palm. I'm going to have that much meat. I'm going to have that much of a protein source on my plate. So I'm going to have fish, grass-fed beef, free-range chicken, not cage-free chicken. That stuff's bullshit. It just means they have the opportunity to walk outside. Anything from a grass-fed farm is going to be much better. Economically, like if you want to get into wealth, okay, money, if you want to give money directly to a farmer to support that farmer, you're going to be much better off if you buy grass-fed beef than if you were to go and buy beef from a big supermarket place, right? Because the money's going to have less people to go through. It's going to have to exchange hands less time. It's going to have a more direct impact on that farmer. So if you support farming, you support grass-fed farmers, more money goes to that farmer. Okay, that's a little bit of wealth. But what was that? What was I even talking about? Oh, it's the simplicity of nutrition. You know that you need about a fistful of a fist. About the size of your fist, that's how much should be on your plate of vegetables. Okay? Then you need a fruit. A fruit is a good idea. You know, like, I can stop right there. You know you need these things. You know you need them, right? You know that a candy bar isn't probably as good as an apple in most circumstances. If you're stranded on a deserted island, obviously you pick the candy bar because it has more calories, but, you know, pick the apple. It's not complicated. There's no reason to complicate this. Keep it simple, because the other way around from that statement, it doesn't take a genius, or it takes a genius to make complicated things simple. Well, the other way around works too. It takes a real dumbass to make something that's very simple into something complicated. And most of the time, I think this goes back to kind of a fragile ego or a low self-worth. And believe me, I've been there. When I first started, believe me, I'm serious. So when I first started my career, I would have been that guy that, for one, I didn't know how to speak any other way. We weren't allowed to, when I went to college, to use abbreviations, for instance. So a TVA, a transverse abdominis. See, people were saying TVA this and TVA that. This was a big time for the TVA game. It was like the big buzzword, TVA, when I first started getting into this. Okay, TVA, the transverse abdominis, is basically like a natural weightlifting belt inside of your kind of midsection around your waistline here, and it sucks everything down. Now, what we found was that when you raise your arm or you move in any way, the TVA was one of the first things to click on. So we thought, if we do the draw-on maneuver, and we really suck our stomach in, that'll turn the volume on the TVA up. Well, we found that it turned all the other core muscles down, so that didn't make any sense, right? So TVA obviously wasn't there. That was a little tangent on TVA, but the interesting thing about not being able to use abbreviations when I was in college was that when I got out, I had to say transverse abdominis. I couldn't say SI joint. I had to say sacroiliac. Like different stuff like that. It wasn't, I couldn't say AC joint. I had to say acromial clavicular. Acromial clavicular. The AC joint. Bam. You know what I mean? Like I had to use these, and I sounded like a douche, which is all the people who are trying to sound really smart sound. And I think it's just because they're so afraid that what they do isn't enough, that they have to try to sound smarter than, or they probably are smart. Like I know a lot of these people that talk like this, and they're smart enough. They're they're good at their profession, decent at their profession. Their profession might kind of suck just in general. They just got into the wrong profession for what they were trying to do. But I think that they're trying to play up this idea, I'm so smart. And it comes in and it backfires them. And I would have been this person too at one point in my career. And at some point you just get tired of it, and you're just like, you know, what are you doing when we're trying to do cardio? We're trying to get the heart rate to go up. I don't need to make it all complicated. We're trying to get the heart rate to go up. Really, does it affect you if I have to go into all the sciencey stuff about and blow completely over everybody's head? Now, does that help you guys, or does that help me? Or does it help no one? Because if I try to sound way too smart, then all of a sudden I end up losing you. Or even if you are impressed, I still lost you. Or you're not impressed, or you understood what I said, and you're just like, God, like, get a grip, dude. And that happens a lot. I see this happen on a regular basis. But like, if we're looking for endurance training, like, we don't have to make it complicated. You keep your heart rate up for a long period of time. If we're doing alactic or glycolytic training, once in a while I get myself caught using that one. But alactic or glycolytic training just means we're bringing the heart rate up and we're coming back down. We're bringing the heart rate up, coming back down. Really, what are we trying to do there? We're trying to improve recovery rates. so that when you run up a flight of stairs, you don't huff and puff for the next 5 minutes, you huff and puff for the next 20 seconds. It's not all that complicated. Really, it's not all that complicated. If you talk to high-level cardio people, the people who are really like sciencey, like up there, they have all these like crazy ways of saying things, and when you sit back and you think about what they said, you'll realize what they just said was that we don't know why it happens. We just know that when you exercise, you breathe hard. That's about what we know of the cardio game anyway. So making it sound like for instance, what do you do with the core? Well, we need to lay down, or we need to lay down. We need to sit up. We need to stand up, sit down, lay down, and do it all over again. That's basically all core training is. Just get up, get down, get up, get down. If we're talking about strength, we're picking stuff up and we're putting it back down. It doesn't have to be like, it's that simple. It really is that simple. Speed and power. We move different weights at different time, or we move different weights at different speeds at different times of the year. Bam, done. Crazy, huh? Massage and manual therapy is one of the funniest ones. Because Cody and I were talking about this one yesterday in the comments section. I just think that nothing is Cody. Cody's a great guy, but it's always so funny when people do this kind of stuff. That it's just like you push on a muscle and it wakes up. That's about all that happens when you're doing the massage therapy game. And that's not downplaying massage therapy. Massage therapy is fantastic. Massage therapy is a really, really good thing. Manual therapy is a really, really good thing. Graston, ART, integrative diagnostics. Just regular massage therapy, we're just getting, even people that are just in the game of just getting a back rub, like those kind of massage therapists, shiatsu, all these different things. What is the new one that Megan was talking about the other day? Rossiter, like all these different things. Like what is really happening there? We're putting pressure on the muscle, and the muscle kind of wakes up, and when it wakes up, it can do all this cool stuff. It can kind of do things that it didn't used to be able to do. So it's a very, very good thing, but we don't have to complicate it and make it all crazy sciencey. It can be really, really simple. The same thing with mobility and stability. There's a fight going on right now, and it's been going on for probably like the last 3 to 5 years in the exercise world between mobility and stability. And originally, like if you went back 5-10 years ago, everybody was like, mobility, everybody needs mobility, 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 mobility. And I really think this was kind of like I think yoga had already been kind of building mass, and when the mobility thing started, it just took off. And all of a sudden, the marketing in the yoga world was like, we cure cancer. No, you don't. But mobility and stability is an interesting thing because I don't think we really know exactly what's going on here, but we're kind of getting some good ideas. And originally it was just like, oh, you just need to add more mobility, more mobility, more mobility. But what happens for the people who have tons and tons and tons and tons? They have a lack of stability, so it ends up presenting as a huge amount of mobility. That complicates it, right? Well, there's a chicken or an egg scenario here, which is kind of a stupid, I'll say that here in a second. But if you lose mobility, you're going to lose stability. If you lose stability, you're going to lose mobility. It's the body protecting itself. It's just how it goes. It doesn't have to be necessarily super complicated. Okay? But it takes a huge amount of understanding about movement patterns to be able to get there. So I say that with kind of a grain of salt, and back to the chicken or the egg thing, because I just think this is the funniest thing that this is a saying, but the chicken or the egg thing is so silly. Eggs would predate chickens by millions and millions of years. Eggs were around with fish, before reptiles, before anything. Or not before anything, but before. There were eggs. There were eggs way before chickens. So which came first, chicken or the egg? Yeah, eggs came first. All right, but how does making it simple apply to strength and conditioning? Okay, just strength, and we're just gonna strength. Okay, just strength for now. Just strength for now. So what are the 7 ways that people get in their own way of getting stronger? Because most people get in their own way of getting stronger, and they don't realize it. When I talk to people, it's almost hard to even convince them that it's. Like, I never try to say somebody's wrong. Right and wrong is subjective anyway, but it's hard to say, hey, there's a better way of doing it without attacking, like them feeling attacked, because like that's the last thing that I would ever want. What I want in all of this stuff, these videos aren't they're not for me, because I get like this huge intrinsic kind of like a high off of this, like I'm helping people, I'm doing something good in the world. But for the most part, what I really want is for you to get something out of it. So I guess there is a lot more of an exchange here than I was really meaning, but I want you guys to get something out of this. I don't just want to sound smart. I want you guys to get something out of this. So I want to make it as simple as possible. And in the strength game, there's about 7 different ways that people really make big errors without getting, from a conceptual view, from a 30,000 foot view. So what are they? And the base mostly on the concept of less is not more, only better is more. That better is better. Okay? If you're gonna go for less is more, stop saying that. Just say better is better. Okay, so number one, the number one thing that people are making an error with in the lifting game is not lifting. I know that one's like, whoa, wow, crazy, huh? Big perspective, not really, kind of lame. But for real, the strength training is the basis of all the good stuff happens with strength training. Like, you want to be a really good long distance runner, you got to strength train. You want to be able to bounce your kid on your knee until he's 4, well, you got to strength train. You want to be able to throw your kids above your grandkids above your head, you want to strength train. You want this thing to not wiggle when you blow dry your hair, you got to strength train. You want to be able to stand up out of your car easily, you got to strength train. You want to lose fat, well, if we want to lose fat, we probably want to put on a dense layer of muscle tissue because it's metabolic, and then we want to decrease some calories to be able to get there. Right? But we know that if we decrease calories a ton to lose the fat, our metabolism will also lower. So how do we mitigate this? We got to strength train. You have to strength train. Lifting is not optional in today's world. In today's world, maybe 300 years ago where you were up, moving around, you had to lift saddles on top of horses or do whatever it was that we did back then, chop down wood, you had to do physical acts. Yeah, you got to have a good defense. That's right, Aaron. Yeah, Aaron said you have to have a good defense. And what she's saying is sometimes a good offense and a good defense, they have to work symbiotically. But not lifting is not an option. If you are a runner, you're eventually going to break down. Now, what I see when I see people out jogging around is not necessarily a bad runner. You know, a lot of people aren't very good at running, but they still go out and do it. And it's like props to them. I almost want to scream out the window, keep going. You know, like that little girl that went viral on the internet where she's screaming at the person jogging by her house. She's like, you're winning. You're winning at life. I love that video. I just think it's great. But it's almost what I want to do. I almost want to like start the Rocky music and just start like giving them, you know, not the finger, but like cheering them on. Yeah, not like a cheerleader cheering them on, but like keep going, you're doing great, just some supportive. But I think that would be like, I'd probably get the finger off of that. I would imagine. But even what I notice is people, they'll break down on one side just a little bit more than the other. There's a little bit of a movement pattern. There's a strength deficiency. There's something different on the right side than their left side, or their left side than the right side. Something's a little bit off. And what happens there is that if you think of a repetition, if they were squatting, you would notice it right away. If their hips shifted over to the left, you'd be like, something's wrong there. We shouldn't probably be doing that exercise. You're right. But you don't notice it when they're running, and it's just subtle. And it's just this subtle movement to the left, subtle movement to the left. Okay? And when that happens over the course of a mile, which is about 1,500 to 2,000 strides, we're going to break down. That movement pattern is just going to get more and more ingrained. It's going to get worse and worse and worse, and bad things are going to happen because injuries are going to happen. Then what happens? Then people come into a physical therapist. I'm not a physical therapist, but they come into a physical therapist, and the physical therapist works on them, tries to get them better, and then they still are they get back to the point that they can live life again. So they go out, they jog again, and then eventually, hopefully, they come into someone like me. Not that I'm going to correct that, but we're just going to improve the type of exercise that they're doing so that they can exercise without getting injured. We want to be able to have durable bodies. Durability is more important than ability, and running 5 miles a day is not healthy for you. Okay, so not lifting is the number one error that the world makes. You have to lift. Okay, number 2 is lack of consistency. Strength loves consistency. It wants to be kept up with. You got to do it over and over and over again. 12 hours and you rusty. 12 hours of not practice and you rusty. You're rusty. You got to do it over and over and over and over again. Okay, you wouldn't only brush your teeth once a week. Well, maybe you would, but that's don't be breathing in my face. Okay, you probably wouldn't shower once a week. If you do, I mean, please, it's kind of might kind of stink a little bit. But if you're going to wear clothes and you're going to do all this stuff and you're going to do it on a regular, be consistent with your lifting 2 times a week, 3 times a week, whatever it is. Be consistent with your lifting. Okay. The body likes this. The body likes consistency. The body wants to learn. Okay? That's what this whole the strength thing is all about. All right. Muscle confusion. This is the biggest crock in the exercise world right now. Okay. Muscle confusion is a thing because somebody invented it. It's not a thing because it actually works. It doesn't work. It's stupid. Okay, muscle confusion would be like if, okay, I'm going to lift Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and I'm always going to pick different exercises no matter what. The body doesn't like that. The body can't learn from that. The body wants to learn. The body is a curious thing. It's like, okay, well, I had this imposed demand. I don't know what to do with it yet, but I'll try to learn as best I can. And then you give it a different one. And then you give it a different one. And then you give it a different one. And it never ever gets good at something along the way. This is one of the things that I have against like college, for instance, and just school in general, is that we dabble in a lot of different things. We just dabble and dabble and dabble and dabble. We're like, okay, well, we're going to do 1 hour of this and then we're going to do 1 hour of that. Man, you gotta just straight obsessive immersion in one topic for 6 hours straight and just pound the shit out of that thing, whatever it is, or for a week, just completely immerse yourself in that thing and you'll be great. I had this guy one time, I don't know, he's an accomplished musician. I actually called him a magician at one point, which is kind of funny in the conversation. He's not a magician, he's a musician. And he said that if you play 1 hour a day for the next 10 years, you will be an extremely good musician. 1 hour a day for the next 10 years, you'll be an extremely good musician. And then he goes, however, if you play 10 hours per day, every day for a year, you will be world class. And I was like, whoa, man, you're onto something there. I was like, bam, that was good. That was real good. So the body doesn't like to be confused. It does not work. The body does not like to be confused. It wants to learn. So you have to give it consistent. You have to be consistent with it, and you have to give it the same things for an elongated period of time. It's going to take about 10 weeks before the body stops making gains off of that. Okay, that would be for a very, very beginner. Most people are going to be in the 3 to 5 week stage where you would want to switch up the workouts. But Monday, Wednesday, Friday would all be the same workout every time. Maybe even the same weights. Okay, which goes into the next thing. This is the next error. Maxing out every time looks really cool, but not when you can't get the bar off your chest, not when you get stuck down in the bottom of the pins, not when you can't move the bar off the ground, or not when you have to drop the weights halfway up on your deadlift. That's not cool. Maxing out every time is the same thing as muscle confusion. The body wants to learn, and if you're maxing out, the body's telling you to stop. Okay, really, before I get into it, this sounds kind of like real nice and metaphysical and all, but the strength is already within you, and I get it. That sounds like a romantic thing. It sounds like, oh, that's cute. I'm dead serious. A lot of what we're doing in the strength training game is that we're dampening our nervous system, impeding us from the strength. The nervous system says, hey, let's not be stupid. We're okay. Let's not be stupid and try to deadlift 600 pounds a day. Get real. When you could probably lift that 600 pounds, it would just look sort of ugly, and it would probably get you injured. So the body is stopping you from doing something stupid. Now, while this is happening, while you're dampening the body impeding you from lifting really heavy, you're also increasing the tensile strength of your muscle tissues, and you're improving the tissue quality and the ligaments and the tendons and everything that makes you stronger, and you're able to build more power and more stiffness. So maxing out every time is dumb. You don't want to max out every time. You want to lift at sub-maximal weights. And what I mean by that is, if you know that you can deadlift 400 pounds, basically like anytime you walk into the gym, you can pick up 400. Well, if you're going to deadlift on Friday every week on Friday for the next 4 weeks, you should probably only go up to 225 the first week. You should probably only go up to 275 the second week. The third week, maybe you go up to 315. And the fourth week, maybe you max out. And what's interesting is that a lot of people will break out of their rut that they've had and get well above 400, even though they were maxing out at 400. Because they took time practicing. They weren't confusing the muscle. They were staying consistent. And they were lifting at sub-maximum weights that their body could learn from. The body wants to learn. It wants to get better at something. Just like you. It's no different than you are. If you were going to go out and do something that you looked foolish doing, how much are you going to enjoy that? You're not. The second time, are you going to get a little better? The third time, are you going to get a little better? The fourth, fifth, sixth, 100th, 1,000th, are you going to get a little better? Of course you are. Are you going to feel more confident? Yeah, of course you are. Are you going to, well, confident maybe. Are you just going to be able to be less fearful of that thing? Yeah, of course you are. I don't know what this was, but are you going to be a little bit better? Of course you are. Okay. The other thing, number 5, too light. This is the, what's her name, Anderson, Tiffany Anderson, or Chelsea Anderson, or whatever her name is, that celebrity trainer that she keeps putting out books, and they're just miserable books. Anyway, she's Gwyneth Paltrow's trainer, so I'm giving her a bunch of airtime here, which is kind of funny. But she says that you should only lift 12 pounds, which is ridiculous. If you think of women who are just getting done being pregnant, and she's the same person that says that women shouldn't get lift for a long time after a pregnancy, and she says only 12 pounds. If you think that kid that the mom is carrying around for a good portion of the day, that kid is growing, is a lot, like after it starts growing, it's going to get over 12 pounds real fast. Like you're carrying around a 40-pound kid sometimes, and she's saying don't pick up more than 12 pounds. That's stupid. That's so dumb. Too light training just keeps you back there. And I know some people are like, well, isn't it better than nothing? And I'm like, I guess. But I just have let's get your efforts what they deserve. Like, you are putting in effort. Let's give it what it deserves. And you deserve to have strength. You deserve to be strong. You deserve to have power in your body and have speed. You deserve these things. Number 6 is the wrong exercises. You're just on the wrong exercises. If you are not ready for a back squat, you should not be putting a bar on your back and doing a back squat. There's certain people, I'm one of them, that because of the structure of my shoulder would not put me in a position where I should be doing back squats because it's going to irritate this up here. And then what's I going to do for a bench press? What's I going to do for a push-up? What's I going to do when I want to throw one of my nephews up above my head? What's it going to do for me just being able to live my life? It's going to bang up on that shoulder. It's the wrong exercises, and it's detrimental to the body, the only body that you do get, and it's detrimental to your health. So that's number 6, the wrong exercises. And not only, we also have to look back at, are we improving the patterning of the muscles involved? And that kind of gets a little bit into some complicated stuff and takes an assessment and a strategy session, which we do at Grit Gym. We do a super thorough strategy session where we look at not every single, it's not like I'm going to get down and look at like how your toes move. I do a little assessment for the big toe. The big toe needs to be able to move in a certain way. But we're looking at how the body moves from comprehensive and from kind of like a microscopic way at each joint, so that we can figure out what are the best exercises for you. And we do that before we build an exercise program, because how else could we possibly build that program? Now, so that's number 6. You're on the wrong exercises. If you're not making progress, you could be on the wrong exercises. So you're doing all of this. You're lifting on a regular. You are lifting. You're lifting consistently. You're doing the same program for about 3 to 5 weeks, and then you're switching it up. You're using sub-maximal weights instead of maxing out every time, and you're lifting heavy, but you're not lifting outrageous amounts. You could be on the wrong exercises. It's just the wrong exercise for you. Now, the 7th one is the funniest one, because this is the one I actually see this one getting more people's way than anybody. It's the 1 day a week intensity. It's where they come in and they just go nuts for 1 day. They just go so hard for 1 day. And they get themselves so sore that they can't come back for another week. Don't do this. Please don't do this. Stay where it's manageable. Your body's trying to tell you something with that pain. It's trying to say, knock it off. Not, good, let's do this again in a week. No, it's trying to say, knock it off. Are you kidding me? Do you know what I'd have to go through to do this? Do you know how much sleep and food you're going to have to eat to help me recover? Now I'm just going to make you feel hungry and sleepy for the next 4 days. Is that how you want to feel? That's what your body is saying. Don't do that to your body, okay? 1 day a week intensity is a little silly. So what I was actually planning on doing, I don't know, I think we're probably going to run out of time here, but I'll do this at some point. I'll do a Jane Doe hypothetical workout, and just to make it really simple, I don't know, Do we have time? Do we have time? I have time if you guys have time. So if we're making a hypothetical workout for like a Jane Doe, okay, and we're gonna make her a girl, because I would like more girls to lift. So we've got a Jane Doe, and we're gonna go. Jane Doe has and this is just very hypothetical. We're just saying extremely conceptual. We didn't do, thanks Joanne. We didn't do a, I always like it when you guys comment. We're just imagining that we have the perfect, we have the top of the bell curve. She's the average of average of average. Jane is average. She is normal. How boring, you know? Let's get Jane in contact with her true, authentic self, so we can really see how weird she really is. So let's say Jane's got a goal for fat loss, and she can only work out 1 hour on weekdays, and on Saturday and Sunday she wants to take off. Okay, we're just going to keep this really simple. And Jane is 50 pounds overweight. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. We're going to look at this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay, those are the days that she can work out, and we've got her convinced that she can work out for 1 day, 1 hour each one of those days. Because 168 hours in the week, she's going to carve out 5 of them, giving her 163 hours left to do all the other things that she needs to do. Because what? Health is the #1 resource in your life. If you can't do this, you're going to sacrifice all the other stuff, right? So the better you are at this, the better you are as a parent, the better you are as a grandparent, the better you are at your job, the more money that you're going to be able to make, the better you are at managing or creating your own time. Everything's better. All right, so we're going to look Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and she has more time on Tuesday and Thursday, so we're going to pick those days as her lifts. So we're going to do 2 lifts, and then we're going to do her interval training, circuit training, alactic glycolytic type training, where we're bringing her heart rate up. We're going to increase heart rate, decrease heart rate, increase heart rate, decrease heart rate, over and over. We're going to do that Monday and Wednesday. And Monday and Wednesday we're doing that. And then on Friday we're going to do more of an endurance cardio, longer steady state cardio day, 1 day per week. And then we're going to lift on Tuesday and Thursday. Now we've got that. Now we're going to go and we're going to say that she's going to do, we'll do what all dudes do. They bench, and then they don't squat. But we're going to do bench and squat on Tuesday, and we're going to dead lift on Thursday, like that. Now, how should she do her weeks out? Okay, let's say she's going to do a goblet squat. How should we do her weeks out? You know, she's 50 pounds overweight. She hasn't worked out in, let's say, 5 years. And how strong is she? Well, looking at her split squat during the assessment, she was probably like maybe able to squat 40 pounds if we were to put 40 pounds in her hands. So let's say we're going to go week 1, 2, 3, 4. Week 1 we're going to go 20. We're going to do 25, and then we're going to go 30, and then we're going to go 35, and we're just going to do a 3+ on her last set to kind of give her sort of a working max out here. So we stayed super under. We had 50% of what we think that she can actually get, because we only need 40% to create a training effect on week 1. For a beginner, you only need 40% of your 1 rep max to create a stimulus. And we're doing more. If she's doing 20 for 5 reps, that's much higher than 40% actually. But anyway, so then week 2, we're still staying low. We're still staying at 25, even though she could go up to 40. Week 3, we're still staying at, and maybe this is 4 sets of 5. Eat every day. And then we're staying at 30. 30 knowing that she can handle it, and she's still saying, man, can I go heavier? Can I go heavier? I think I can go heavier. Nope, stay there, because good things are going to happen. Okay. Week 4, last set, we're going to go up to 30. The last set, we're going to go up to 35 pounds, even though she can handle 40. We're going to do a 3+, meaning she can do as many reps as she can within the confines of the technique. This means she might get 6 or 7 reps, let's say. Okay. But we stayed under 40 for a reason. If we would have given her 40 on week 1, we would have seen a knee cave. We would have seen form fall apart because she couldn't maintain it, even though she could have gotten up to 40. We stay at 20. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's how you would do that. And you do the same thing for the bench. You'd see the same thing for the deadlift. Not the same weights, but the same concept where you keep the weights low. And then she would do this for 4 weeks, 3 to 5 weeks, change up the workout. Maybe then we do a different type of bench, we do a different type of squat, and a different type of deadlift. It's hard to know because it's Jane Doe and we didn't do a strategy session on her, but that was a real quick hypothetical workout for a Jane Doe. Can you find a good reason for complicating that. That's what this whole video is about, right? Can you find a good reason for complicating it? It takes a genius to make things super simple. I'm not calling myself a genius, but it does, because I don't think I made that super simple. But it takes a genius to make something that's super complicated into something that's very simple. And I don't know what you'd call the person that makes something really simple into something complicated, but it always makes me laugh. So they're fun to have around. I just end up chuckling or chortling. Maybe it's a chortle, like a anyway. Don't get to use chortle very often, do you? But thanks for being here, guys. I really appreciate it. If you can hit the share button, send this out. If you like the message that we're putting out, hopefully my goal is to help billions of people in a positive way. If it's one of these videos, or if it's a book, or if it's an article, whatever it is, if it's a way that I can help you, if there's a complaint that you have, because usually that's how I attack complaints. Complaints are opportunities to solve a problem. If you have one of those, DM me, write it in the comments section, whatever it is, but please hit like, please share this out. We will be back tomorrow. What is tomorrow? Tomorrow's Thursday. I did look at the schedule. There's a big interview on Friday. You guys definitely want to be here on Friday. But thanks for being here today. I really appreciate it. It means the world to me. I will see you tomorrow at 12:30.